It's your time, it's his time, it's Bam's time. Bam's time to shine. Welcome back to the channel, man. If you're new, you know what to do. The real reason why NFL players go broke, where does all the money go? Shit, I got an idea. Let's find out. Let's get to it. We did the NBA players. So now we're doing the NFL.
Growing up, kids all over America dream of becoming professional athletes. Sports are so ingrained in American culture.
If you ain't seen the NBA video, it's probably like a couple of videos below this one. Just go to the channel, subscribe, like, comment, do all that, man. If you want to, of course.
Super Bowl. Anyone who grew up playing sports has pictured themselves in one of these kinds of scenarios. But beyond the glory of competition and triumph, there is another huge draw to playing professional sports, especially nowadays, those huge, monstrous contracts. As fans fighting the good fight, working a 9 to 5, it's easy to get caught up in the glitz and glam of the behemoth $100+ million contract we are seeing doled out to professional athletes. But it's important to remember that this is just the top 1% of pro athletes. The disparity between the highest paid players and the bottom feeders is especially apparent when you look at the NFL. The average NFL salary right now is about $1 million, according to former NFL star Jack Brewer, with athletes at the bottom making between $300,000 and $400,000. This is especially notable for players that are living in expensive areas. Brewer explained this to Fox Business News, saying, quote, "If you're living in New York, you're bringing in $200,000 a year, you know. It's tough to live off $200,000 a year in New York City when you're paying $4,000 for a one-bedroom apartment. The unexpected..."
It's $4,000 for a one-bedroom apartment? Yeah, New York is one of the places I'm trying to go, but I would never live there if it's $4,000 for a one-bedroom apartment. You crazy. $200,000 a year is amazing to make, but $4,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment? You just got to get out of New York. I ain't gonna lie, cause that's not even. We're not even going. Nah.
Financial strain is often exacerbated by the nature of the business. To start, so few of the players actually have guaranteed contracts to begin with. Not only do they have to deal with the volatile nature of their finances if they stay with one organization, they are also liable to be traded or worse, cut. At which point they would have to find a whole new living situation in another city.
Bro, how do people do that? That's one thing I said. I dropped the video on my second channel the other day. It was a question and answer video. I had said pretty much I like YouTube more than basketball. Cause let's say I did go a little further and I'm playing overseas or whatever the case may be. I'm like, bro, I'm probably, it's gonna be a lot of times where you're getting traded, bounced around. You gotta find different living situations. You ain't gonna it's people who are in New York, in Portland, in Milwaukee, in Houston for X amount of years, 5+ years. They're in the same spot for 5+ years, 10+ years. They in a spot for at least a good 7-8 years. Then they find a new scenery later on. Like, imagine having to go from Cincinnati, you gotta go to Cincinnati, Kansas, Las Vegas, San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? New York, Pittsburgh. Like, it's just too much, man. It's just too much.
Regardless of where they stood in their current lease. This is just a small piece of why so many NFL players end up going broke. In fact, Sports Illustrated once estimated that 78% of NFL players are either bankrupt or under financial stress within 2 years of retirement. For starters, the percentage being so high is largely a result of the ridiculously short average career length for an NFL player, just 3.3 years. Think about that, 3.3 years. And if they were cut during some of those seasons, they might not have even earned their full salaries. The volatile nature of the NFL workplace does not mix well with the lifestyle that a lot of these players want to live, and it can happen to anybody. Too many of them care more about flashing their newfound wealth in any number of fiscally irresponsible ways, whether it is buying a mansion with more bedrooms than they have friends, expensive car collections,
more bedrooms than they have friends,
whatever it takes to flex on social media and outdo their peers. Warren Sapp burned through $82 million, Terrell Owens $80 million, Vince Young $25 million. These numbers seem unfathomable, but it's true. You have to consider a few key factors before rushing to judgment on the NFL players who go broke. Firstly, that big number you see come across the ticker when they sign, that isn't their net pay. Just like the rest of us, they get taxed hard on those big paychecks. So realistically, they're earning about 2/3 of what you think they are. Not only that, but for a player to have big paychecks.
So gross wages in millions, 34.9 million. Wages after taxes, nigga. So they took... This is still hella money, but then you do gotta throw in what you gotta pay for.
So realistically, they're earning about 2/3 of what you think they are. Not only that, but for a player to have an effective career in the NFL, there are a number of professionals that they need to personally hire. Let's start with the obvious, their agent. The guy who negotiates those
Agents,
big deals
bro.
takes at least 10% right off the bat.
10% off the
If they have a
bat.
chef, if they have a nutritionist, a personal coach, or a trainer, all of these things add up, and they add up fast. Another unfortunate challenge for these young men managing significant amounts of money, many of them for the first time, is how to deal with family and friends. It's obviously great to be able to buy mom a new house or show up with a brand new set of wheels, but those big ticket items are expensive, and if you buy more than a couple, you leave a little room for error. Not only do they have to worry about spending money on the family and friends they want to spend money on, but all of a sudden a million relatives and friends start coming out of the woodworks.
All of a sudden I got 90-some cousins, a half-brother and sister who never seen me or even bothered to call me until
Jay-Z rapping and shit.
they saw me on TV.
Think about what happened to Michael Vick back in the mid-2000s. After proving himself as one of the most electrifying players in the NFL, Vick signed a 10-year, $130 million contract extension that included $37 million in bonuses. And that was on top of all of his massive endorsement deals, as he was quickly becoming one of the most marketable players in the league. However, just like it does for far too many NFL players, it all came crumbling down because of a decision he made with lifetime friends who don't have their own money and are often involved in shady business. In Vick's case, it was dogfighting. Not too long after signing his extension, he and two lifelong friends were indicted on charges that they had owned and operated an illegal dogfighting ring. This would ultimately cause the Falcons to release Vick without having to pay his contract.
Bro, this is why I said, bro, like people say when your friends get money, he's supposed to break bread with his homies he grew up with since day one. Bro, we need to, like, my boy, he signed, like, let's say he signed a deal, whether he in music or he gets that new bonus job where he's making 7, 8 figures. We celebrating him. We not about to, you gotta break us even nothing. Like, I understand if you broke in the hood or y'all broke. I'm not from the hood, so maybe in the hood they look at it like, bruh, we the people who you started with. But y'all could also be the reason why I lose this shit, bro. Like, imagine having everything and then it's like you got to do this shit with your homies and they expecting you to do X, Y, and Z for them because, like, no, like, if y'all, we could form, the ones that are serious, we could form something. But y'all got to take the proper classes. Take the proper classes to do this. I'm not just going to hand it to y'all. Cause you see all these videos. That's how all this shit happened. All these people go broke. All this shit. Like, it's so much that plays into this. But, because I got a 10-year extension. I'm supposed to just break bread with everybody and here goes, yeah, cool. Here go $100,000 for the homies. Here go $10,000, $20,000. You know what I'm saying, for auntie, for $20,000 for, like, no, you could take care of, your mom, your dad. You know what I'm saying. But even then, you still gotta understand, like, bro, I have to pay an agent. Shit adds up. None of this shit is free. All this shit adds up. I don't want to hear, bro, you make $200 million, nigga. I gotta pay my agent. He gets 10%. Sometimes even more. I gotta pay my agent. I have a nutritionist. I have this, I have that. And I have my own shit I have to pay for myself. After all of that, I need to be saving for when I'm not playing the game anymore. Come on, man.
And it cost a bit millions.
I want to have 20 M's saved up by the time I'm done playing.
Fees. Oh, yeah. And he had to spend some time in the clink. Clinton Portis, a former Pro Bowl running back, who played his best football for the Washington Redskins, is yet another victim of post-NFL financial woes. He believes that many of the athletes, himself included, are taken advantage of, and while he can't speak for everyone, the situation was particularly predatory. Portis had heard all of the stories before. Flashy cars, expensive jewelry.
Yeah, bro.
That is how you go broke.
That's how I
So after
bro.
signing an 8-year, $50.5 million deal back in 2004, he enlisted advisors Jeff Rubin
Because you bought... Not even going to say
and
it.
Janesh Brombaugh, both of whom were registered
Y'all know
financial
already. I'm not
advisors
even
for the
going to say
NFL
that.
Association.
That shit is...
Jeff and Janesh led him to a number of bad investments, including sinking $1 million into an Alabama casino and an investment with Success Trade Securities, which turned out to be a Ponzi scheme. When Portis ultimately filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, court documents were released that showed he owed $412,000 in domestic support to 4 women, $390,000 due to the IRS, $287,000 more owed to the MGM Grand Casino,
God.
$170,000 to the Borgata, and $500,000 to his own mother. In total, a crippling $5 million.
$500K to his own mom.
Just put him in some
How?
really sound investments, huh? Fortunately, they have since been banned by the NFLPA. Portis had some interest.
I started
How?
Purdue Global because it was really easy to try to balance classes.
Interesting commentary on how his socioeconomic background and the background of some of his peers adds to the problem.
How?
Quote, coming from inner city communities, coming from our neighborhoods, we are taught to go and trust someone who has on a suit and tie, end quote. It appears Portis does have a legitimate gripe with these predatory suits. And as an aside, coming directly from me, old Justin Fraction here, do not ever, if you come into money, give anybody else the right to sign anything on your behalf. Because that was part of the problem with Portis here. People were signing things and he didn't even know about it.
How?
It isn't just guys from hard-knock childhoods who end up having trouble with their finances. It really can happen to anyone.
It can.
Three-time Pro Bowl quarterback Mark Brunell grew up in Orchid, California, an unincorporated town in Santa Barbara County, California. Only 2.6% of families in Orchid were below the poverty line, which is over 6 times lower than the national average. Orchid schools are also in the 80th percentile in California, so it is safe to say he wasn't exactly slumming it. And exactly none of that stopped Brunell from losing an estimated $50 million.
Mark Brunell is a recognizable name by any NFL fans, having been in the league since 1993 and gone to 2 NFC Championship games. He's a backup with the New York Jets now, and throughout the course of his career, has collected $50 million. Brunell is also broke. When he retires from the league, which will be after this season. Oh, I'm thinking like, what is this? I didn't peep this date. That's why I was reading this shit. But wait, hold on. This nigga didn't look like. I mean, this man did not look. They're talking about this is 2011.
$1 million from bad investments.
He'll be moving on to a 9-to-5 job working as a medical sales
in a variety of
representative.
ways. Of the 9 businesses he invested in, 5 are no longer operating. One especially bad flop was his investment in Champion LLC, a high-end real estate investment company that...
One of those includes a loan to a partnership called Champion LLC, which includes Brunell's former teammates in Jacksonville and Joe Smee, I don't know how Smidged, and Todd Fordham, the 3-time Pro Bowler, also has a dispute in Jacksonville, $2.2 million loan for a real estate project. This is what people think, bro, because you're friends or teammates or family, that means y'all can go into business, bro. You got to go into the business with the right people.
When the housing market collapsed back in 2007, another costly enterprise was the investment he made in several Whataburger franchises. The end result of Brunell's investments? He became insolvent and had to face 6 claims totaling just under $25 million against him. He'd almost have been better off taking his University of Washington degree and finding a regular job near his childhood home, where the median household income is nearly $80,000. So while socioeconomic background undeniably has an impact on the financial literacy and success of NFL players, it clearly isn't the end-all be-all. A big piece of the problem for a lot of these players is the same thing that made so many of them great athletes, that I'm invincible attitude. Even NFL rookies have been sacrificing their body for years and have spent their entire lives overcoming adversity and winning.
That's the thumbnail.
It's impossible not to start feeling some sense of invincibility when it seems like every decision you've made comes up aces. This leads a lot of players to spend carelessly because they are so conditioned to win that they always think there will be just another contract. Obviously, that's simple.
When you get drafted, I think what people of today, now that there's so many videos on YouTube, so many things, there's so many stories out there. When you get drafted, to not, like, you made it, but don't get careless. Don't be the type. You start getting a grill, $300,000 grill. You just start doing like crazy shit. Like you don't understand that you could be gone tomorrow from the league. You know what I mean? Like just don't start doing crazy things. Like put some money away. Like have that talk. Like you gotta have the right people in your circle. Like have that talk. Like bro, put all this away. Use this amount to pay your agent. Use this amount if you have a nutritionist or whatever. You probably don't off the dribble when you first get into the league. But use that amount. Use this amount to take care of certain things. And then put the rest away. Because you want this to rack up. You do this with every year. You're going to have a lot of money. A lot of money. By the time you retire. Put all that shit in the savings, man.
Isn't the
Or
case.
put all that shit away
And frankly,
somewhere.
It's crazy that our modern day gladiators think this way. There is so much risk associated with the game of football, and a career can end in a split second. Andre Collins, the executive
I don't know
director
if I
of
want
the
my kid playing football, bro. I'm
explained
gonna
that
be
it's
honest.
an inherently challenging transition for these players to make, saying, even for the most prepared players who have gotten a solid education, for a young person, it's tough. He continued, if he goes from earning $450,000 and that goes down to $45,000 a year, there's an adjustment to his lifestyle. An adjustment that can be very hard for them to make. Although there will likely always be sad stories of former NFL players facing financial distress, fortunately there are a lot of intelligent people trying to reduce the staggering number of
This shit's serious, bro. This is serious though, cause it's like it shows you that situations like this happen a little more often than not. Sometimes I think some of it is like people just. It's like I'm not gonna say self-inflicted, but it's like some of it probably is self-inflicted. But I think some of it is just like I said, when you coming from an area where you didn't have anything. A lot of them, this was their way out. So coming from an area where you ain't have anything, and then now it looks like you can get anything you want, and then you realize it's like a learning process, bro. And a lot of them are fortunate enough to run it back up again. It's like you are in a position not to get what you want, but you so caught up in I got the money, but you don't go get what you need. You don't go look for what you need. You get what I'm saying? You got the bread, so now you think, I'm gonna go buy this car. I'm gonna go buy this chain. I'm gonna go do this, go do that. And it's like, bro, all that shit depreciate. Like, don't get me wrong, like we all like material things, but too many people are like, I guess, materialistic. Because it's like, bro, all that shit depreciate, especially the cars, the jewelry, all that shit depreciate the minute you buy it, bro. It is what it is. Like, sometimes it's like, I don't know, man, but it's experience though. Like we can't say. I don't want to say they should know that because some of it is life. Like they just weren't aware. They weren't aware. They were in. They might have been in an environment where, you know, they didn't have anything. So now when they got some money, they wanted to get everything. Oh shit, I'm muted.
Who was running back for the 1979 Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers. He said that he was completely in over his head trying to manage the money that came with his athletic success. He had that invincible mentality, he told the Undefeated. When I was drafted, I had not finished school. I didn't graduate, and I didn't care. Because, baby, I was going to play ball. Davis never thought it was going to come to an end until he was abruptly cut by the Steelers after a 5-year career. I never failed at anything before Pittsburgh let me go, Davis said. It goes beyond humbling. I had a family and 2 young kids. I can't describe the devastation that occurs in your spirit and your mind. Fortunately, Davis was able to pick himself up after meeting with his former college football coach at the University of Michigan. Mo helped him get back into school and set him up with a local job, housing, and some scholarship money. Davis then went and parlayed that opportunity into a job as a truancy officer for the Jackson, Michigan Public Schools. Davis has also remained outspoken on the importance of financial literacy to young players. His advice? Quote, get educated in every aspect of handling your money. At some point you have to trust somebody, but do your homework, cover your basics. The athletic piece takes care of itself. You got there because of your abilities. Now you have to put in work in the other areas, your family and your finances, end quote. There's no shortage of factors that play into the financial struggles of former pro athletes. Remember, there are people just like us. They just happen to be managing millions of dollars in the public eye.
Yeah.
Hopefully, as awareness spreads, we will see less and less of these stories about broke athletes coming out. If you're not subscribed yet, feel free to do.
Hopefully we do, man, because that should be sad. I be sad when I see people like, bro, like what happened? Anyways, man, if y'all like the video, like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'm gone.